You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
I'm Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the big show. We certainly appreciate you guys coming on. As always, for 16 years, over 2,300 episodes, we bring the Chris Voss Show. The Chris Voss Show, the family that loves you but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as your family. But remember, stop asking us to loan you money. Really, seriously, we don't. We're not that kind of family. Anyway, guys, go to Goodreads.com, Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com, Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. Today, an amazing young lady on the show, Dr. Lucille Maddalena, joins us on the show today, and we're going to be talking to her about her amazing insights and everything that she does. Lucille, did I get your last name right?
You did. It's Maddalena. That's perfect.
There you go. My sister's name is Delana, so I think I got a Delana in there at the end of Matt. There you go. And I made her mad all the time, so there you go. She's the author of the newest book called Moving On By, Harnessing My Sled Dog's Team Instinct to Win, out February 18th, 2024. And we're going to get into some of her insights and her things on how you can make your life, leadership, and just everything better when it comes to teamwork. She is a coach, author, speaker, and trailblazer in education and organizational dynamics. As a first woman accepted into Rutgers University's labor education program, she delved into the intricacies of human and organizational behavior, earning an interdisciplinary Doctor of Education with a second major in Human Communications. While a doctoral candidate, she created a workshop preparing professionals for managerial roles. Pioneering its acceptance enabled her to found her company, Morris Business Group. This initiative quickly gained traction in U.S. corporations, making her the inaugural woman to lead management seminars at major pharmaceutical and manufacturing entities, evolving into a global program conducted in multiple languages. This endeavor powered over 6,000 new leaders. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, I'm excited. I just got back from Memphis.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, was that part of the Super Bowl or Super Bowl area?
No, I went the week before. Do a little work with corporations, some team building down there. They're doing some great building. And the neat part is I'm in Memphis, and they understood sled dog racing. I was afraid I was going to have to give a good bridge and explain more about it, but they seem to really understand what it's all about, the dogs and the snow.
Dogs and snow. They're probably getting. I think they're getting a lot of snow down there these days in the south too. It's been happening lately. I know there's a storm going on right now. So sled dogs. I know that. What was it, Baldur, or what? Who's the famous dog that everyone kind of knew? Balto. Yeah, there you go. So give us your .coms. Where can people find out more about you on the interwebs to get to know you better?
Oh, please visit my website. There's lots of good stuff there you can download free. It's MTM Coach. I shorten the name of my company to make it real easy. Maddalena Transitions Management, or MTMcoach.com. And take advantage of all the stuff that's on there. Download, read, watch some sled dog teams running too.
Hey, I like that. I love watching sled dog teams. I think this is amazing. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside your new book, Moving On By?
Well, on by is the sled dog command for passing. So if you're behind a team and you're ready to pass that team, you shout on by. That means the lead dog gets off that nice, safe, packed trail into the deep snow, passes the team in front of you. Now, it's an analogy. It's an analogy. Pass whatever is blocking you. Shout on by and do it. Get off that path and find that harder trail, and you can do it. Get by. So I thought I'd use on by as the lead words in my book.
Moving on by. I'm a big fan of, we were talking in the pre-show, you've got, I think, Huskies and Malamutes on the cover of your of your book. I've owned 4 Huskies
Oh, you're okay.
since 2001, so I'm surprising I have any of my hair left. Let's see. Or I mean, I think we all know in the show I don't have any sanity left either. But my first husky was an Iditarod. Was a granddaughter of a Iditarod racer out of Alaska.
Oh,
She was purebred with AKC
oh,
things.
that's impressive.
And boy, that dog was hard to handle. She had her own spirit. She had her own Alaskan Siberian spirit, more so
They
than
do.
most.
They do. They're hard-headed. Yeah, they really are. They know what they want to do, and they don't want to divert. Do you know
Uh,
what Three Dog Night is?
Three Dog Night, the band.
No, besides that, Three Dog Night means it's that cold that you need 3 dogs in the bed.
Oh, there you go. That
That's
must be
pretty
why I'm still cold at night because I only have 2. But they're the best cuddlers when it comes down to
They
keeping you
certainly
warm
are.
at night and stuff. But just about everything else, they're awful. No, I'm just teasing. They're really great dogs if you have a lot of patience, like a lot. Like I think I just posted a meme there that you never really train a husky. You just come to a cold war detente with them.
Okay.
That's kind of how it
All
works.
right. Well, that's
So
what happened. So we had so many that we couldn't walk them anymore because they walk us. So we found put a sled behind them, and they can pull us, so we don't have to do the walking. And that's how we
so
got started.
so tell us about your how you grew up, how you were shaped, what got you into the Huskies, then of course this intertwines with your leadership and your professional experience, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a very calm area of New Jersey, a little foresty, a little bit of farms in the area. So I always grew up knowing that you work for a living, and I liked
Hmm.
working. And I found a field that really touches on people, that helps them succeed. And when you help somebody, when you get them to that point where they can get on by a problem and they succeed, you feel really good.
Yeah.
So this is the most rewarding career I could possibly have gone into as an executive coach. I've worked with hundreds of people. I started out in grad school working with first line supervisors. Now I'm working with CEOs. It's
Hmm.
been a long career, 30 years, lots of great people, and I learned a lot. And the coaching is critical. Sometimes you just need somebody to give you that extra push and that extra little bit of knowledge to make a good decision.
Hmm. To help you move on by.
To move on, but
See what I did there?
the phrase works. I got a story about that. You want me to tell you the story about on
Please
by?
do.
All
Yes.
right. I was working with Alaskan Malamutes. That was how we got started. They were pets. Pets
Uh-huh.
are great dogs, and we had fun with them. But then I started working with the International Sled Dog Racing Association's president on his business.
Mm.
I got to know them. They came out and saw us at races and figured, all right, this couple's learning. And then his wife got pregnant, and she had a team of Alaskan Huskies bred for the Iditarod that raced in Pennsylvania. I only raced in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York,
Uh-huh.
here. And she, because she was pregnant, she asked if she could loan me her team and if I would keep them in shape and run for
Wow.
the season. And, that was a hard decision to make because these are really fast dogs.
Yeah.
And I'm a novice and she was not. So they're trained to run. So I took the team. And my first race we got off to a beautiful start. The team was superb.
Mhm.
We went under a grove of trees. It was very dark. And as we got out from under that grove of trees, the sun was bright, glistening off the snow. You can't see anything then. But the dogs' tails were up straight. Their backs were up. I could see them. And I could see some enthusiasm. So I'm saying I'm on the back of the sled. We're always in the back of the sled. And you're pumping with one foot, working away. You never stop working. You just keep going.
Uh-huh.
We're moving up and we're getting closer. And I'm beginning to see what they see. There's a little hill in front of us. And on that hill is a team, which means I made up those first 3 minutes. I caught up to the team that left before us.
Oh, wow.
Now, what to do? The team's excited. The team's moving ahead. I'm moving ahead. My job is to call out on by. On by is a command to get off this nice, safe path, get into that deep snow, pass that team, get going. Well, we got closer to the team. And, I work in the corporations during the day. I work for some very refined people.
Uh-huh.
And instead of shouting on by, I shouted out, "May I pass you?" I asked I asked him for permission to beat him in the race. The driver of the other team, big guy, looked down at me and said, nothing. He just shook his head. At that moment, my lead dog, the little red bitch, gorgeous pup, she turned her head, and we had eye contact during the race for like 10 seconds. What we did, we had eye contact. And it's like she was looking at me and saying, come on. And she reached her paws out, dropped her haunches, and took off. And I shouted on by, and we did what we were supposed to do. She passed that team, led our guys beautifully around the other team, back onto the path, and did a fantastic job. We did really well in the race.
Yeah.
I learned a whole lot from that one little brief eye contact with that dog. Yeah.
That's a husky for you.
Yeah, well, it brought me back to reality, to where I was. Yeah. Sometimes you can be working on a team and your mind's somewhere else, and like I could have been at the corporation the next day, walking down the hall and bumping into somebody and saying, man,
I can see you barking at by. You're in my way.
I should have done that.
Do that at the airport when people are walking in front of you. By, moving by.
So anyway, it was a real learning experience, learning about teams. One of those things that hits you in the gut, and you react and you learn.
Yeah,
you learn from animals. It's instinctual, right? We learn from animals.
Yeah, I mean they've made me a better person. I used to be a horrible person. Wait, I still am, according to my enemies. I do horrible things like drink coffee and try and make the world a better place by lifting people up. It's so horrible. Anyway, I've learned, my dogs taught me to be more empathetic, more compassionate, more, I don't know, just more loving, more caring. They've taught me to be a better human being. Whether I learned that or not is a question that no one. So there you go. So you wrote this down in the book and put this down on how to teach leadership and teamwork through the concept of harnessing these dogs and having an instinct to win. I mean, certainly that's a sport in and of itself. Did you guys ever do that? I think you mentioned Pennsylvania back east. You guys were doing the sled dogs in?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys do anything like the Iditarod out there where they do like it's like a
well,
week or
we have little
like
races. That? Of course, we have races.
Yeah.
It's 3, 5, 10 miles. That's all.
Okay. Yeah.
Nothing like the Iditarod that goes on forever. But it's the instincts of the dog. You're talking about how much we learn from animals, and we do learn from animals because it brings us back to some basics here. And some caring and some nurturing, and that's what it's all about. We talk about in corporations, in business, in anything. If you own a business, if you're working with a team, it's got to be connections. You got to care about the people.
Yeah.
You can't work at them. You can't. Nobody can win anything by shouting and making commands. If you want a team to work, you have to help them figure out how they're going to succeed. Give them opportunities to learn from themselves and to share and build support.
Yeah. I like what Peter Senge had in his book about building learning organizations and stuff, the 5th discipline. And you're right, helping them learn, helping them grow, helping them solve their own problems, helping them see the vision for what you want in the world is pretty much, and I think it's more popular nowadays. We've kind of moved away from the stick sort of management style of do your job or we'll fire you, to now I think most leaders understand that you've got to inspire hearts and minds. You've got to lift. You've got to make people see a picture, a vision that's bigger than yourself, the company, and maybe contributes to the world a little bit more. And I think a lot of newer employees, millennials and Gen Z, that's kind of what they're seeking, right?
That's precisely what it's all about. Now, we're talking about work-life harmony now. We're talking about making people responsible and allowing them to explore some areas. You can't shout at them. Instead, you have to listen and get people to where they are comfortable and they can be creative and be inspired. My whole theme is be inspired and inspiring. Get out there and do your thing and figure it out for yourself, because you'll invest more in it. You'll get more out of it in the end. We're talking about values.
Yeah, and it's probably more important too to help people get inspired, because people just work better that way. The human spirit is just almost seemingly unlimited when it's girdled with hope and inspiration and a drive to do something sometimes, or a lot of times, beyond ourselves. And I think that really makes a difference.
Exactly. And I think the biggest thing that as a coach that I work on is helping people overcome risk.
Hmm.
Fear of risk. I had
Yeah.
one woman who was, they asked her to move up into a leadership role. And she said, I'll take the job after I learn it. I, no, that's not the way to do it. You do the job and you learn on the job. You
That's
take the
true.
risk.
You take the
And
risk.
it is taking a risk. And once we understand that we'll survive any
Hmm.
risk because we've got connections, because we've got intelligence, because we know what we want to work on, we can do it. And
Hmm.
that's again why I picked that name. Get out there and take the risk.
Get her
I don't
done.
like the people I'm coaching go get lost.
Go get lost learning. Yeah, I mean, the only way to do anything or master anything, I hear that from a lot of entrepreneurs. I'll say, hey, hey, you told me last year you're going to start that business. How's that going? Oh, I haven't started. I'm waiting for things to be perfect. And I'm
Exactly.
like, there's never going to be a perfect time. There's never a sign that comes up and says, now is the time. That's kind of, I like that line from Pink Floyd, you missed the starting bell. No one told you when to run.
Perfect. Perfect.
And so I see that with, I've seen people for multiple years. Where every year I'll bump into them and be like, hey, how's that business going? And they're like, I haven't started yet. Waiting for things to be perfect. It's
Uh,
like, how many years are we doing this?
they need a coach. That's what I'm here for. That's what I spend my life doing. And I've
There
done this
you
for a long time. It's just fascinating when they take in that breath.
go.
They really, you can see them inhale and go, I can do it.
Yeah.
And take that risk. And they find they really can. Uh, it's so rewarding. Yeah.
I'm starting to refer to the term of entrepreneurship as just problem solver, professional problem
Oh, that's
solver,
a good way to do it. Sure.
because that's really all it is just you're just you're just constantly solving problems. You're constantly having to learn something new. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur working for myself since 18. There's just an endless array of stuff that you have to do. I was watching this guy on TikTok. I mentioned this before in the show, and he sells private planes. He's a private plane broker, and he's really good. He's a really classy guy. I think he lives in London or something, but he sells private planes to very rich people all around the world, and he helps them, negotiate their deal and do all the stuff, what to pick out, and he did like a walkthrough one day, and he's like in his 60s, and so he's been doing this for a long time, pretty much most of his life. This business, and he goes, what's really funny is you would think after as old as I am and how long I've been in business, you'd think we'd have this down where every day it would just be like clockwork. We just do the things. He goes, but every day I'm still solving new problems I've never seen before after 60 years in business, et cetera, et cetera. It's always new problem solving that we have to do. It's always some scenario, some new issue, some new technology. Technology is a big driver of that, I'm sure. AI is probably a big surprise for people nowadays. But he goes, that's all I do. He goes, that's really all I am every day is I just solve problems. And I'm like, I'm tired.
Oh, no, he's not tired. He's motivated, I'll bet. I bet he's got
He's motivated. When I saw it, I was tired. I was like, I'm tired.
you know, right.
I don't want to
Yeah,
keep
but it
doing
keeps me
this.
energized. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I'm up
Cool.
there too, but I'm full of energy because I'm working with fabulous people who are dedicated
There
to
you
doing
go.
it right. They have that drive. They want to get that business going. So I've run my own business now for close to 40 years.
Hmm.
And I'm thrilled by it because every day is something new. Every day
There
is a
you
new
go.
challenge, a new way to look at what has to happen.
Hmm.
A new way to
There
give
you
somebody the guts to go ahead and to let them tie into their own instincts so they know where they want to be. And
go.
that's what it's all about. Connecting with yourself, understanding what you want out of life.
Hmm. So let's talk about some of the offerings you have on your website at mtmcoach.com. Tell us about some of the things you do with people there that they can take advantage of.
Well, one of the most important things that we don't do for ourselves is help us to understand how we look at the world. So I do a really thorough eval. I use a top program so they can assess themselves. But more importantly than that, I ask them for the names of 10 people they know that they respect. Maybe somebody in a higher level, maybe a peer, maybe somebody below. And then I call these people and I interview them on the phone and have them give me feedback that they would give to this person. So I put it all together.
Wow.
And I give them a 75-page report on themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, what other people say about them, what they say about themselves. And when you compare what other people say about you to what you think about yourself, you'll learn a whole lot. Because there's often areas where they just don't merge. So that's the heart of it. Once we find those areas where you see yourself differently from how other people see you, that's what we invest the time in. And we do that in some really creative ways. We have some fun doing it. We go off site. We explore some different issues. It's coaching is not just talking. Coaching is acting. Coaching is living through it and getting out there and taking the risk.
Taking the risk. So leadership coaching, executive coaching. You do some keynote speaking. People can request from you as well.
Oh, yes. A lot of keynote speaking. That's really exciting because when you get out in front of an audience, well, you know this better than I do. When you're speaking with an audience, you get motivated. And then you find out what's of interest to them. And then you go back and you do a little more research because something new to add to your cadre of interesting facts and figures that you can share.
And then you have a free download that people can get on your website as well.
Yes, I've got several, actually. The most popular is how to self-coach. Self-coaching is so simple. Self-coaching, that's why I talk about instincts. Where do you go when you have to make a decision? Where does your mind go? It goes to all your previous experiences. And your experiences you gain through action, reading case studies, and they accumulate and you call upon them. And that's what the instinct's all about, calling upon your reaction based on all of these things. So if you want a better reaction, if you want to make better decisions, gain more information, get out there and take the risk. Read a few books, talk with people, expand who you are, and learn who you are, learn more about yourself. That's what coaching's there for, to give you that step ahead.
Coaching, get you this. So you advise for self-coaching and how to self-coach. Like, basically, you're like, hey, do better. Okay, I will.
Self-coaching there's 3 steps to self-coaching, the way I explain it. First of all, when you start self-coaching, you think back. What happened? What's in your history? Did it work then when I did it the first time? Could it work now? Then you bring it today. Could it work now? And how could it work well for me? Then you bring it to the future. If I do it now, how's it going to help in the future? So if you think about from the past, the present, and the future, that's self-coaching. That's taking a piece of information, that's taking an idea, taking a step and testing it for yourself, understanding if it's going to help you now, if it's going to help you in the future.
There you go.
Self-coaching.
There you go. So anything more we need to cover and tease out to people on how they should work with you, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I think the most important thing is storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has their story to tell. And if you haven't written your own little life story, if you haven't taken the time to put it down on paper, do that now. Because that's who you are. That's how you see yourself. And from there, you can start growing. You can decide if it works, if it's something you want it to work, and how you want your life to go. But that's self-coaching, taking the time to examine yourself, to be able to ask yourself those questions. And then when you get in front of an audience, then when you're dealing with somebody who's maybe going through some problems or someone who's moving ahead fast, you can share your story more accurately and explain who you are and feel proud of yourself. Be inspired and inspire the other person to do a bit more.
Yeah. And that's really, what we do. We tend to inspire other people. I love how on your cover of your book, you've got one husky you're holding up, and that husky's just like, what's going on? And then you've got another husky. Looks like he's starting about to bully and cause some husky trouble with the other one. He's got an evil look on his face, which is
he does.
Classic husky. And how many dogs did you have at your height?
At our height, 30.
30 dogs.
Yeah, well, my husband raced 2. So we had a kennel. We had a large kennel. We started out with 3. And I said we couldn't walk the 3, so I put a sled behind them, and that worked beautifully well. Then you can do it with more and more dogs. And as we got more and more training, you know what it was about, though? We could not have done this if we didn't find good mentors, just like in your business. You're forming a business, you find a mentor to help you get through it. That's what helped us learn to sled dog. We had terrific people out there who knew what they were doing, who taught us all the steps, and we could ask questions too. We all need role models and mentors. You are not a leader unless you are both a role model and a mentor. You cannot define yourself as a leader unless you can both be a role model and a mentor. Because leaders aren't the people who shout. Leaders aren't the people who point to the way to go. Leaders are the people who develop others. It's your leadership legacy. The people who you develop are going to move up, and they're going to move you up higher because they're good. So develop your leadership legacy. Be a leader. Be a role model. Be a mentor. That's how everyone gets ahead, right? In your business, I'm sure you have plenty of mentors, right? And role models.
Yeah. When the thing is people look to a leader to exemplify what they should be doing as followers, and morals, ethics, vision, et cetera, and I think some leaders don't realize that people are really watching them intensely. We've often joked about how people put out a PR statement and be like, yeah, here's what our company does, our morals and ethics, and how we behave, and then you see the CEO doing the exact opposite, and you're like, you're full of shit, as George Carlin would say. So you see a lot of that. 30 huskies, man. I thought just juggling 2 at a time was hard.
Well,
that's a whole new level.
You need a lot of organization. You need a lot of people to help you.
Oh yeah. I've got friends who I think they're in the Carolinas, the North Carolinas, but they run the same thing. They run sled dogs, and they've got the carts that have the wheels in case there's no snow.
That's right.
And so they do a whole job of it, and they love it as a couple. They're just they don't have kids either, so that's their kids. But they have, just the amount of work that goes into it. Like once a year, they have a pallets delivered of dog food. And, stuff.
You do it. You do it yourself. It's a year-round thing. The dogs want to stay healthy. You want to stay healthy. You're in great shape. We could run 10 miles. Yeah. I can't do that now with the dogs because they need to stay in shape. I got to stay in shape. It really got us moving. And my God, we got out in nature. We got out in the sun and the snow in the middle of nowhere. And the great thing about working with sled dogs, or working with any dogs, is they're like a compass for you. They know what's happening out there and you don't. They can hear a twig break, and they know that there's a deer or something out there, and they give you an early warning system. Wouldn't you like that in business? Wouldn't you like something to tell you what's on ahead? Anticipate all that? And I watched them do that, and it made me more aware of how I look at my surroundings and how I make judgments about the next step and what I'm going to do next. You learn a lot from animals.
I think I'm going to have my huskies answer the phones and do some of the customer service, the emails. I think are they good at emails? I'm going to have them lead off on a few things.
Put those letters and numbers on the floor so they can learn to speak to you by typing it out.
There you go. Yeah, well, there's a lot of yelling at me that goes on every morning and throughout the day. Whenever it's tree time, there's a lot of in the morning they're usually like, get up, mofo, and give us our treats, you dummy, and I'm just like, leave me alone. I'm just
don't they howl?
Yeah, they howl, they bark, they talk. That's the great thing about huskies. They pretty much cuss you out every day and tell you what a horrible parent you are, and lots of judging going on by the husky. That seems to be a favorite thing. And they give you that look like, well, I'm gonna eat this guy and get rid of him. So I love huskies though. I've had 4 of them. I guess I have one now, so I think we're due for a new one sometime the next year. Still grieving over the other one, but that's one of the biggest challenges you run into with
it is
with the size of your operation.
Well, back then we had 30, but some of them belonged to other people, and we put them together. So they took care of them the rest of the year, but they wanted them to be in good shape, so they gave them to us to race for them. So they went back to their owners, and their owners spent a lot of time with them, even when they were with us. But the thing about huskies, and the thing about any dog, is it's dedication to you, and you get a dog, and unfortunately, dogs don't live as long as we do. So you get to that point where you lose a dog. So now that we don't have a team, now we only have 2 or 3. We get a dog every 6 years.
Yeah.
So we only have one dog alive and healthy.
Wow.
It's the only way to do it because of their short lives.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I can think of so many people that are human beings that probably could have some shorter lives, in my opinion. But politicians maybe. It's unfortunate dogs just don't live the long they have. I think that's the toughest thing. But they're such beautiful animals. They teach you so much. I mean, I can't imagine what a horrible life I would have without dogs. But that's just me. But
that's why I talk about work-life harmony.
Yeah, you got to balance it.
The animals teach it teaches to calm down and breathe.
Yeah.
Have values and live up to your own values.
Plus, it makes you realize you're not as cool as you think you are because you're always being yelled at by huskies. My favorite is when they come in the bathroom and they give you this look like, you said we can't do this in the house, but you can do it. This is very poor leadership. I think they read your book because I'm not doing exemplary leadership. They're like, how come you get to do it in the house and we don't? Because this is not fair. We're contacting the union, filing a grievance. So they're always up to that. There's always the judging with the husky. We love them.
Oh, come on. And your people judge you too. I bet it.
That's true, but I care about my husky's opinion of me for some reason. Right. I don't care about anyone else's. So give us your final thoughts and pitch out for people on board with you, reach out to you. How can they reach out to you, see if they're a fit, initial calls, stuff like that, and your .coms?
Yeah, go on the website. Please go on the website. Even if we don't talk, go on the website and download all the stuff you can from there because I give a lot of free stuff away. Because I've been doing this a long time, and I find that when you're ready for it, you'll know, and you'll want to get coached. And you can give me a call anytime. We schedule calls, and we'll do some interviews, and you'll decide if you're the right thing. The thing is, if you don't choose me, make sure you choose the right coach. I'll be a good coach for you. There are other good people out there, but there's some coaches that may not work with you. You've got to find a coach that shares your values, that has the same standards that you have. Values, experience, those are things you look for in a coach. So look for people who you can talk to, that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah. I would say you've got to be a great coach because if you used to work with 30 huskies and the abuse that goes on there, I mean, that is something else. That is something else. I have dreams about doing that, and then I see my friends who do the work in it, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm not that into that. I like just having 2 of them and they can play with each other. But 30 dogs, that's a lot. So thank you very much, Lucille, for coming on the show and sharing your expertise, your thoughts, and your knowledge, and all that good stuff with the audience.
It was a pleasure chatting with you. Have a good day.
Thank you. And thanks, our audience, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Foss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Foss. Chris Foss won the TikTokity and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And that should